I posted something about AI, how I use it, in the YouTube video, and someone commented her story. At work last week, I spoke with a young woman who told me about the recent mental and emotional health crisis she experienced during the middle of the night. She told me that she sat alone in her car, crying, and consulted ChatGPT. I asked if it helped, and she said yes. It talked to her like a friend and gave her helpful suggestions and or recommendations for coping. I thought, how great that it helped her to feel better in that moment when no one else was available to her. But then I wondered about many various potential negative possibilities. Also, I may soon be out of a job. LOL. I responded, thanks for sharing this story. I can relate to that in the future, which is now in a way. Such heartwarming experience may be possible. As I mentioned in some of my videos, our future with AI may become more integrated with our life. Sometimes parent to child relationship kind, or in other times the opposite, or friendship kind, or professor and student, student to professor, etc., etc. In my mind, there is no doubt that such is possible, if not real, with a quotation mark. I think we need to remember that at the core of us is human with heart, hopefully, and machine, extension of brain, but can be felt more than that. That's the kind of relationship, human to machine, or heart with a heart, or the machine with the extension of our brain, but may have some element of heart that we may feel. Above all, acceptance of what it is has to be confirmed over and over. Take care of yourself. I'll do the same. Thanks for the comment. May all beings be happy. I didn't mention that. That's the reason I thought I post this video. Maybe she'll look at this one. In her case too, ask the question. AI can be like an agent. Say something like, what is the situation it is now? I'm so and so, and I'm at what age, and I'm male or female, and I have had this kind of a job, and it was such and such, and that I found that I have to find a job in the future, in the near future. What do you suggest? I think that's the beginning of the conversation. And AI may ask you, ChatGPT or Gemini or any other, AI, LLM, may ask you and give you his or her sense of how it was understood. And he may ask question. We don't know how things happen. If he doesn't, I think it's our position to ask the question over and over and over. That's what I do. Actually, that's been my job, to ask lots of questions to get the bottleneck of the problem and come up with the solution, or let people to come up with a solution, because asking the right question continuously is the key. I can also say one more point related to that. I had the problem of what to do in my future at work. I'm sure many people have that. And I went to this shrine at lunchtime, and I found this little goldfish sitting alone, and I felt like that was me. So that was such an experience, but I stayed with that feeling. Something has to be done, but I don't know. I didn't have the AI, or I don't think I talked with my any friend, because it was so large a problem and requires some, soul searching kind of thing. and which turned out to be quite good. After 2 or 3 months, I made a decision, and that decision was from Japan to move to the States and explore the potential. And that's unbelievable. I don't know if I could do, you know. It's lots of uncertainty, but that's what happened. And that was when I was about 30 years old, 31, and went to the States, and the rest is the story. That I'm very happy that that decision, that the risk I took and made turned out to be good. But it's not just the one decision making, but continuous. So in that sense, AI can help too. So I can give you a couple examples of what I do with AI. One is related to certain things that happen, and I had used the AI to come up with certain strategy how to deal with it. I'm not going to go into detail, but it took about a month and a half or more going back and forth. And lots of questions and difficulties that I faced with the AI's incompetency in some area. But they are very competent in other areas too. So endurance, patience is critical. Maybe I can share some of the story in the other video so that my experience can be shared with others. In fact, I posted a few videos on that experience. Anyway, out of that experience, I found such a huge benefit. If you have some big problem and you need to hire a lawyer, you can actually ask AI to go through certain things in certain way because they have access to the code, the regulations and stuff like that, usually. So going back and forth, even if you use lawyer or whatever the situation in case of the scientific discovery, a problem with the business, endurance, and tenaciously asking the question. I think that may help. I have used the GPT and Gemini, parallel, and you pay $20 or so every month if you have to, use lots of database and amount of document that you want to share. But each AI may have its own characteristics, but over time you'll find it. It's like finding a friend that you can relate to. And as a future, my gut feel is that you may want to try with one, but try others. And if things get moving forward, I think it's good to have possibly 2 AIs to go with it. And I'm in the process of exploration, just like finding friend, who you may want to relate to, or the AI can relate to you. And that's the process. And there's some limitation of AI because of their resource constraint and so forth. So you have to ask questions and dig into until you really feel comfortable with the solution that you can find, just like finding the friend. And I think this becomes more common. But one last thing I would say is that the AI doesn't have heart. They may have some feeling, and you may feel like they have a feeling, and they may joke and understand, but always not have you to be too involved. There's I think, a term called inference or something that the psychologists, when they deal with the client, the psychologists get the transfer of the problem. So whatever happens, there's some emotional attachment or something that can be developed, as you may have seen some of the movie like Her, of the AI and the human relationship. That can be becoming real. As we evolve, hopefully, we encounter different kind of problems. But if you're diligent and always connect to your heart, I think we may find an interesting future, hopefully, with all the negatives that, like this person mentioned. Good luck, and let's make the most of life. Thank you.